Namaskar and a very good evening to all. This is Arpita Srivastav Rai welcoming you all to this online incubation program for women entrepreneurs and girl students under the aegis of Root to Bloom and Atmanirbhar Bharat vocational learning with an intention to enrich and help you all to set benchmarks in your respective fields. Well, today we have come up with one of the very interesting topic when it comes to the subject of entrepreneur, and that is multitasking. And well, I hope you might have heard this word several times, but do you know that this term multitasking has become the need of the hour in today's scenario? Or let me put you in some other words. Well, what I feel as a layman, multitasking can be described as the ability to do more than one task at a time. And you will agree, we cannot stop ourselves with life being as competitive, as hectic as it is in present times. Hence, what I feel is multitasking on a regular basis is vital. And who could be the ideal examples of multitasking as we women are, right? Do you agree with this statement? Well, multitasking is the display of strength and positive attributes in a multiple number of ways at the same time. And if may ask you all learners, give me top reasons why one should multitask. Anyone of you, if you can answer? Well, let it be to be very short and precise. In today's world, it is mandatory for all of us to survive. The reason that what I feel it is important is it keeps you active. You are 24 into 7 in an active mode. And it also acts like a tonic to your brain. As body, to make your body active, you go to gym, do yoga, Zumba, all these things, right? To make your body feel active. Simultaneously, multitasking is also a brainy exercise which makes you active. And as I said, it is the need of the hour in this fast changing world, which keep you at pace with time. And it is also considered as one of the personality traits when it comes to the recruitment in today's world. Well, I'm going to quote one of the instances and the person who have said about this. He is Mr. Aragram Hugh, founder and editor of the Policy Times, which is a digital media platform for policy issues. He's a believer of multitasking. You can understand he runs a media house, so he is always on his ease, always on a task, on his toes. And he says that on one point of time, he's writing, editing, typing, also interacting, making his, investor relationships good. So in today's world, it's important to multitask. And he quotes that today's entrepreneurs need multiple skill to survive in business. Multitasking comes naturally to the present generation entrepreneurs as they are handling of multitasking abilities in the journey of their fast changing tech savvy world. You all will agree, our kids, we often take time to adapt to technology, but our kids are super fast, right? We all have experience in our daily lives. Any new gadgets or technical thing you give them, for us, it will take time to get friendly. But these new generation kids, you won't see, they are so quick to adapt and they know where to go, how to do about it. So the generation demands to be multitasking, what I believe. And that's how even he says that. And for the entrepreneurs, when you are setting a business from the scratch, you are involved in everything. As an entrepreneur, you end up doing the smallest of the tasks and also solving the biggest of the problem. So for as an entrepreneur, multitasking should be an inherent capability. But one thing, if you are trying to do everything, there is a possibility that you will also face setbacks, be it a lack of time or the inability to finish your task with undivided focus. You should be ready to face the problems and need to be careful and should search for the solutions on time, and that comes when you set your priorities and you plan in advance. Again, I would like to call, when it comes to the priority for the entrepreneurs setting the multitasking, would like to quote Bharti Taneja's quote. She's the founder and director of the Alps Beauty Group. She says multitasking is fertile. If you are not able to tick off things from your to-do list, at the end of the day, multitasking is all about saving time or making the most out of time. So you must prioritize. And if I may ask, so you can understand, while describing this world, I can say it's one of the key entrepreneurship skill in today's world, because it helps to keep the core team members more dedicated. Time is the money, and so multitasking will help you carry out more tasks and be more competitive. So, as I have given you a little overview about it, so if I can ask, how to improve your multitasking skills? Well, as I already said, that you can do that while quoting these two important stuff, that you have to make a to-do list, you have to prioritize your task. You can make similar groups for your work. You can reduce distraction. You can monitor your progress, delegate tasks if needed, and practice. So, as I said, that it is an important subject, and to throw light on this, today we have a guest speaker, none other than Mr. Pradeep Singh, who will be throwing light on this subject. So let me invite the Director of Route to Bleem, a CSR professional, Mr. Pradeep Singh. Over to you, Pradeep ji.
Thanks, Arpita ji, and thanks for this lovely introduction. Of course, you have covered each and everything how entrepreneur must be. That is, they need to be prioritized. They need to prepare the do list. There should be a symbolic. We all do actually. Whenever we keep on doing, there are certain things which are very much symbolic. Or similar tasks are there. So accordingly, we need to prepare that list, and of course, monitor or take the feedbacks or delegate the work which has been given to you to your members. That is how the first list, of course, whenever we talk about any of the things, it's not only that a team work must be there, or multitasking must be there, or as an entrepreneur. This is a common gender, I must say, phenomena where we need to work on. But today I will be discussing on some of the traits actually which is required, or I must say it is there with us. We need to recognize us first. And the way today Arpita ji said, actually, this particular multitasking starts from the home. If we see our mothers, if we see our wife, if we see our daughter, if we see our sisters, either they are in the kitchen, or they are as a homemaker, or they are actually a bringer for our own children. So the first stage where we talk about the multitasker is our ladies. Secondly, I must quote here all our goddess, that is Durga ji, Saraswati ji, Lakshmi ji. If you see, we can see on the pictures or on the idols, multiple tasker means multiple hands up there. So for all the goddess, we actually symbolizes all those things as a woman to be a multitasker more and more, as compared to men and as compared to even the entrepreneurs also. Let us come to the topic actually what we are discussing today. There is one test actually whenever we talk about the multitasker, or whenever we talk about person has to be an entrepreneur, he or she has to be an entrepreneur, go towards the entrepreneurship. First of all, they need to recognize what all those things which is required for them. And for that, there is a specific test actually is required. And I will share the test and the details of that particular questionnaire also. Just ticking on or just filling up that particular questionnaire, you will come to know that how good you are for your enterprises, or there are certain standards, 5 to 6 standards, how best you are actually placed in on those standards, or what best you can do to achieve the target or to achieve the best scoring out of those things. So please allow me to share first that particular slide here. Is my screen visible to all?
Not yet.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So a very basic framework we all know actually. Whenever I talk about a multitasker, he or she, of course, this can be replaced by women also. This can be replaced by anyone who is there working as an entrepreneur. So in an office, we usually go in and around. We plan, I think, like Arpita was saying, we need to manage our time. We need to manage our emails. We need to manage our correspondence. We need to manage our offices. We need to go through the certain articles. We need to go for research work. We need to read on. And again, we need to present. So this is a simple structure where each and every entrepreneur in their journey as an entrepreneur, they keep on going. And that is why this is called as a multitasker. One more thing I need to add here is why we keep on saying that as an entrepreneur, you need to work as a multitasker. If you see the metrics of any organization, any of the general organization or MNC, or if you go to the corporate, or if you go to the government offices, there must be a team working on the top head. There will be a general manager. Then there are subheads. There will be matrices. Some of the members will be working for production. Some will be working for finance. Some will be working for marketing. Some will be working for sales. Some will be working for development, and some will be working for research. And likewise, down the line, there will be team members, those who will be working under this. So in any of the office or in any of the corporate world, or if that is not the startup or that is not the case of an entrepreneur, this structure will be there. We keep on doing likewise, and even there will be a hierarchy for that, and there will be a horizontal and vertical interactions. People are supporting each other, even for the vertical line, even for the parallelly, horizontally, or even the down the line with the matrices to the slanting formations too. Correspondence can be from top to bottom or bottom to top. This all we know actually. But here, whenever I talk about an entrepreneur, he or she is doing the complete work. That is, he is taking care of production manager, he's taking care of finance also of his organization, he's taking care of marketing, and he's taking care of sales development for his activities, and of course the research work for development of his product or development of services. So that is why we call all the entrepreneurs or startups best to be a multitasker first. Why multitasker? Because in a very initial stage or nascent stage, we are having a very less number of people, those who are supporting us. So what is required more is we need to be a multitasker. We need to assign our tasks accordingly to that. But here, whenever we talk about an entrepreneur, there is an mindset changes whenever we compare as an employee to the entrepreneur, or how entrepreneur should be. Entrepreneurs should zero in the individual task more than the employees. It means, suppose as an employee, if you see, we keep on thinking of our work only, specifically on our domain expertise. But entrepreneur is not going as an domain expertise first. He or she is looking out for all those branches, for all those occasions where they need to deliver. Entrepreneur have an one to the next one mentality with failure and frustrations. Of course, whenever if you are an entrepreneur, suppose you see for an employee, the frustration can be on the basis of day activities, on the basis of increment, or on the basis of leaves and all. But for an entrepreneur, the failure can be there as per the revenue sharing, as per the profit making, as per the sales overhead, or as per the profit overhead. Even for that, those things are actually making an entrepreneur to to go and throw himself for those failures, for those and the resultant for those failures or the resultant for those activities or happenings can be the frustration of the entrepreneur. So precisely he or she needs to be work smarter for that. How to be smarter on that? Entrepreneurs are smart about risk, but don't avoid them entirely. Of course, whenever we talk about an entrepreneur, they do take on certain risk in hand. See, whenever we talk about an entrepreneur or whenever we talk about the startups, they actually are presuming that their sales can be likewise or their revenue generation can be with this fold. But this is not the cases, and this cannot be the actually exact numbers where they are focusing on. But as compared to corporates or as compared to MNCs, they have a specific numbers in hand that okay, this will be the revenue or this will be the salary they will be getting it. But for an entrepreneur, this is the challenging task. And of course, challenges are there, risks are there, and they need to smart for that. They need to actually think for the risk, but they cannot avoid those risks. They need to emphasize, build on the strengths, whatever the strengths they have, and they have to actually, they cannot oppose the weaknesses, of course, but they need to build up for those weaknesses. Whatever the weaknesses they actually are having, they need to recognize that and they need to work on that so that they can build on those weaknesses to the strength. They can translate those weaknesses to the strengths. That is what. Entrepreneurs are not threatened by people smarter than them. Yes, of course, if someone is working as an in an enterprise which is startup or someone who is working as an entrepreneur, they of course regard the smart people to be in the team, because if the smart people are there, they are the supporting hands for them. So I must say here that if they are if they are there with them, the smart people are there with them, entrepreneurs must not be threatened to them. They own the decisions, either the good or the bad. Whenever the good things are happening or the bad things are happening, they're always actually welcoming those decisions, welcoming those occasions. So, but here I need to, I am presenting one of the things, some of the standards which are required for an entrepreneur to be. These standards are, what are the qualities required for an entrepreneur? They need to think for always the achievement. There is a, for an entrepreneur, the quality should be that he or she should think for the achievements. There should be a quality for need of the achievement, and they should work on those things. How to work on those things? They need to orient towards the future. They have to rely on their ability. They need to be optimistic for the rather than pessimistic. A strong task orientation needs to be prepared every now and then. And effective time management can be there. Orientation towards results, whatever be the future of for those results, whatever the future for those revenues, they need to orient their people and their themselves. Of course, restlessness can be there, but strong drive and high energy levels needs to be maintained. Open and ready to defend your ideas and views whenever you present to your stakeholders. A determination to ensure that your objectives are met, even difficulties arises. These all are requirements. It is adding on to the need for the achievement of an entrepreneur. Of an entrepreneur, they should be responsible, they should be persistent, and they should be goal oriented, setting all the challenges which are realistic, which are not unrealistic, and willingness to work, even willingness to travel. So these all are sets, these all are qualities which are required for need for achievement for an entrepreneur. Now, if I go for a very common and basic requirement of an entrepreneur, that is need for autonomy. Of course, need for autonomy means how much you are independently working towards your ventures, toward your people. How much individualistic you are, how much determined towards your work. If you are happy to work as an entrepreneur, or how much valuable member you are. If you are taking yourself as a valuable member to your organization, it means you have an autonomy towards your work, you have an autonomy towards your needs, and you are actually addressing those needs and the organization needs and organization values by your autonomy, by your, of course, presence, ideas. Of course, starting a business is always an option for anyone, but it can be likewise that you can be a part of the team or you can be a part of organization. It totally depends upon the person, but the person more into the graph of need for autonomy, he or she should go for entrepreneur. We talk about an entrepreneur. I was reading regarding the entrepreneur's qualities. This is the one basic quality which each and every entrepreneur should be. That is creative tendency. They need to actually realize the things. They need to present their stories. There should be an imagination. There should be an inventive and innovative tendency should be there among all the entrepreneurs, irrespective of their ages, irrespective of their gender. Um, being able to actually synthesize their ideas, they should be knowledgeable enough and made good guesses. Of course, whenever necessary, they need to be present. Whatever can be the best part of their presentation, whatever the best part of their businesses. There should be a change-oriented, prefer novelty and change and challenges with a dislike of being locked into routines. Of course, they should not go with the routines. They keep on innovating even for their timelines, even for their working structure. That is how the entrepreneurs are. So that is how why this is a very much essential requirement for an entrepreneur to be. That is creative tendency. They should be versatile. They should be able to draw picture. I must say, able to draw some stories, able to draw on various other resources for smooth implementation of the project, or whenever they are stuck up for in any of the problem, they shall come out with the problem solving methods or problem solving ideas. So if they are having a high creative tendency, if a person is having a high creative tendency, it means they are having a strong creative tendencies can be expressed through artistic way, uh, in an innovative way, or in an inventive activities. If a person is having good in creative tendency, but not with that, they need to actually struggle on. So, while not at all creative people have two enterprises, it is nonetheless a characteristic of most enterprising. It is thus it is highly required for an entrepreneur to be a creative thinker or creative actually. Likewise, in social media, if I talk about the social media managers, there are several bloggers, and of course, social media handlers. Those who are very much smart in this attribute. Next, of course, how much uh, how much an entrepreneur is going, is he or she is calculative in risk taking, or he is taking more on the paradigm of where they are going towards the risk taking. So they need to think for uh, decisions, being able to act on incomplete information. Of course, suppose an information has been given, which is either incomplete or irrelevant or insufficient to you. But still, if you are trying for that to take an action on that, or if you are still trying to actually uh, prepare something around that particular misinformation, how good you are in judging in that particular information, whether it's been good or bad. That is how we are actually calculating the risk-taking factor of an individual. What best practice to actually not being so much into the risk-taking attribute? Self-awareness, self-readiness, more research, more accurately actually working towards the policies, understanding about the policies, understanding about the um, present scenario, understanding about what's happening in and around uh, your business ideas, your, of course, whatever the models in which you are working for. So that is the one best way where you can be a very good in calculating the risk-taking part. And analytic part, of course, if you are good in analytics, you can actually prepare how best it is to take a risk, how best it is to um, prepare a project where you will be getting the profit out of that, or prepare the project where which you will be getting a mileage out of it, or getting a support, or getting the maximum impact or maximum output out of that. So, and for this, a goal-oriented setting yourself a challenging must be present, and they should actually prepare a benchmark. They should prepare a timeline for attaining all those goals, and of course, that actually keeps on challenging them. That okay, if I have set out this particular target, I have set out this particular timeline. Let us go for it. Let us work for that particular timeline. And effective information management, using information to calculate the probability that your actions will be successful is the one best method actually for an entrepreneur to calculate the risk, whatever the risk is coming in their businesses or in their enterprises. So oversizing or undersizing your team member, oversizing or undersizing the opportunities or filtering any of the information can be helpful some way, but sometimes it is less helpful to you because more and more information is down the table. More and more actually you are able to understand the risk pattern of that particular enterprise or that particular business model. Locus of control, how much good you are, how much good you are to control your people, how much good you are to control your thoughts, how much good to control your team members. So the basic requirement for this locus of control is, if suppose someone is there who is well confident enough, having a self-confidence, having a self-confidence on his skill, having a self-confidence on his knowledge, and then actually imparting that particular knowledge and skill to his team member, that makes a person to be a more of the locus of control, and that gives a much better actually mileage for this. This particular preset, of course, this all 5 to 6, that is locus of control, calculated risk taking, creative tendency, need for autonomy, need for achievement. This is more precisely helpful for all of those entrepreneurs, those who are working for that. And to be a multitasker, you need to be prepared with these qualities first. And of course, you need to be prepared for these qualities, but how you will find out that what all are plus to you or what all are there present in you and what all not present to you. So there is one test actually, I'm just sharing a test here, a link of a test. Let us open that test. It will give you the idea. It will give the idea to all the entrepreneurs, all the people, those who are present here and those who will be actually going through this test. I'm just opening this particular test here. This test was initially shared during my project, during my timeline when we were at AICT and working at in World Bank project. There we keep on actually giving these particular test set to all the entrepreneurs, that how best they are whenever they are they are going to start an enterprises or they are going to start any of the startup. So they need to actually find out, but just by giving this particular test set, will actually come to know about what all the qualities are present in them and what all those which are not present, and how best and what best they can do. So if I'm starting with the questionnaire, the question starts with, I would not mind, wait a while. Arpita ji, you can take up just for a second. I'm just coming up. You can discuss on those qualities.
Okay. Well, so as the topic of today's is multitasker, may I know some viewpoints of the learners who are present over here? I may invite you all to share your views on the subject line. Anyone, Advocate Ramarao or Dr. Mandakini Shukla, anyone can come up and speak on this subject, needs to know their viewpoints.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. I certainly agree with the fact that in today's world, it is very important for all of us to, multitask, because without it, it's not possible for us to live in such challenging times. And being women, we also have to understand the fact that we have certain responsibilities which we simply cannot shrug off. So as sir was mentioning, that it is very important for us to follow a timetable or schedule, and if we stick to it, if we follow it regularly and timely, then I think we can really achieve a lot in those 24 hours. So the thing is that we all have 24 hours, not a minute less, not a minute more. So if we can all set a timetable and follow it religiously, so that is when we can actually have something good to achieve. We really can achieve something good in life. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
thanks,
for,
Dr.
thanks
Mandani.
for your kind Dr. Mandani. Yes, Pradeep you can take it over.
Let me go through it. Okay, so these we were there, na, actually,
The test.
the test. Okay, so this is a test where everyone can actually find out how best they are to start at any of the enterprises, or how best they are with the qualities for being in startup or being an entrepreneur. The test start likewise. The questions are there from, if I see the questions here, from question number 1, so somewhere around 54 questions are there. So we need to answer on those things and find it out how good we are actually if we are going for a startup. So the first question is, I would not mind routine unchallenging work if the pay and the pension prospect were good. This question set, of course, is setting out that either you are going for a challenging work or not. Firstly, secondly, are you really looking for a prospect where you are getting good pay and pension over and above that particular challenging work or unchallenging work? I like to test boundaries and get into the areas where you have worked before. This is actually asking whether you are going out of the box thinking or not, whether the person is going for an out of box thinking or not. I tend not to like to stand out or be unconventional. See, being an entrepreneur, you have to be very unconventional. It is never that you keep on thinking the conventional things. But if you are agreeing on that, or if you are agreeing on that, this particular answer will actually preset or pre-decide that how good you are for being an enterprise or being an actually entrepreneur. Capable people who fail to become successful have not usually taken chances when they have occurred. Are you really going to take a chance or not? I really did it. It means whether you are, we all dream in night, but entrepreneurs do dream on days. That is why this is being asked here. I find it difficult to switch off from my work completely, whether you are into your work or engraved towards your work or not, how good you are actually focusing towards your work. You are either naturally good at some time or you are not. Effort makes no difference, whether you are putting an effort to actually improve yourself or not. Sometimes people find my ideas unusual. Are you really putting some of the ideas? Actually, this particular question is giving us the idea that you are thinking for some other ideas too. I would rather buy a lottery ticket than enter a competition. Usually people go for this. They go, okay, let us go for a lottery ticket rather than going for any of the giving the preset knowledge about the person, how good or bad he is for starting any of the enterprise. I like challenges that stretch my abilities and get bored. Things I can do quite easily. It depends upon the person actually. The person, some of the people, those who are actually who like the challenging work. But there are certain people, those who are always going with the routine jobs. They don't like all those changes actually around. So I would prefer to have a moderate income in secure job rather than a high income in a job that depend on my performance. Here we are talking about a performance which is linked to your income rather than compared to a income which is a government job or otherwise also. At work, I often take over projects and steer them my way without worrying about what other people think for. That is the biggest attribute, whether you are thinking for the people or not, whenever you are being assigned to any of the tasks, whether you can take the task or responsibility of your own or not. Many of the bad times that people experience are due to bad luck. People do think for that this happened due to bad luck or the good luck, and they keep on actually thinking for this more rather than actually attempting for those. Sometimes I think about information almost obviously or subsidiarily until I come up with the new ideas and solutions. Some people are very much offended to the informations, of course. they are not at all going towards the information. They are not taking up those informations correctly or completely and come up with the solutions or come up with the ideas. So I'm having problems with a task that with a task. I leave it, forget it, and move on to something else. This happened to so many people. They actually plan the things, they do the things, but they are not actually completing it. In a halfway or in around somewhere down the line, in between, they actually leave that particular task. When I make plans, I always achieve them. I nearly always achieve them. It depends. Um, Sometimes, of course, uh, it means that you are preparing a plan which is not doable, I think. So you need to prepare a plan which is doable and you need to think actively for that. I do not like unprecedented changes to my weekly routines. People in government services or otherwise also, they don't like changes in their routine life, in their routine jobs. If I wanted to achieve something and chances of success were 50-50, I would take the risk. This actually is, this question set is saying that whether you are a risk taker or not. I think more of the present and past than of the future. I'm not talking about the future. I'm not discussing about the future. If I had a good idea for making something, some money, I would be willing to invest my time and borrow money to enable me to do. This is saying that how good you are actually when you are trying to go for or to make money. I like a lot of guidance to be really clear about what to do in work, whether you are self-doer or whether you are actually looking out for the support. People generally get what they deserve. It totally actually depends upon your achievements or your desire. I am wary of new ideas, gadgets, and technologies. You are tech savvy or not, it is important to do a job well than to try to please people.
Well, let me ask you something. As we are discussing on the subject of the multitasking, well, some people are in favor while some people are also against of this notion. So can someone come up and give their viewpoints on this subject? Like, as in the questionnaire test, there was some conventional and unconventional things, right? I remember the old theories when people used to say that you should concentrate on one thing. Whatever you do, you should give your 100% and be focused, right? So do you agree with this statement of mine that focus only comes when you are focusing on one aspect and in multitasking, you are not focusing? Do you agree with this point of view? Anyone of you can come up.
Well, ma'am, actually, it is a very good question, and I feel it differs, from time to time, phase to phase, what one is going through. And for example, when we were students, we were always told to, concentrate on studies, and there were some few particular fields which our parents always wanted to, focus on and pursue, and that is how we were always trained, to just focus on studies. But see how things have changed today for, school children and students, how it is for them also, this multitasking thing, where they are concentrating on sports also, and so much attention is now being given to extracurricular activities. So I think it is very good for those children, for overall development, because it is only then that you can, have a good, strong personality, and go out in the world and meet people, because that is how the world has become right now. So we need to change a little bit according to how things are changing around us and how the world is changing around us. So
Agree, Dr. Mandakni. This is digitalization,
yes,
honestly.
yes,
Exposure of the internet
yes.
and the digital age has made us all multitask. We being texting and simultaneously on the conference and serving our web browsers on the laptops too.
True, even that is multitasking.
Yeah, that's what I'm sharing. In today's, we might feel offended. I still face that thing when there are 3 generations. My parents are there, me is there, my kid is there, right? When we used to attend something, a lecture, we used to be focused, right? Now today's kids are attending lectures online also, simultaneously they're playing games also, and they are answering also. I don't understand how can they answer. Means the listening skills, the point is this, that they're listening, fine, they are distracted for a second, but their ears are listening, so they have bifurcated themselves. Like, I might surprise it's a surprise for me. I cannot do that. Once I am interacting or I'm listening something and you tell me to do simultaneously some work, fine, as a lady we might be doing something physically and being attending, it's a different scenario. But today's kids are live on one portal and their hands are playing on something else gadgets, and they are, on the contrary, they are proactive. So these are today's kids which are open to this world of digital.
So true, ma'am. This is a part of evolution of mankind. I think if Charles Darwin was alive today, he would be amazed to see how we are evolving as human beings. He must never have imagined, Charles Darwin, that this would happen one day.
Very true. Yes, Pradeep ji, you can take it over. We Pradeep ji took from your questions, the test you were mentioning about conventional and unconventional thought process. So we had a question, to our viewers, like, would you agree in today's world multitasking is a blessing, or one should be just stick to unconventional or conventional thought process, that be good in one field itself only? So just for your knowledge, we were discussing.
Your discussion, I was listening to your discussion actually. If you see technology intervention nowadays, okay, we all are either on FB, see the multitasking with what we are doing actually. On not only me, each and every individual, those who are connected over internet, they are on FB, they are on Twitter, they are on Instagram, they are on Koo, they are on LinkedIn, they are on Gmail, and there are multiple of course, where more of the people, even IT people, background engineering people, IM students, all are on gaming apps. If you find the gaming app, more IT people are actually on the gaming apps. There are 2 reasons for that. First thing, the interest for the game. Second thing, the technology interventions or development or the innovations which they can create or they can actually build up. That makes people to actually use that particular multiple, I must say, apps, multiple options, multiple technical interventions. And that is one big example of multitasking. It's not only each and every app is asking something, as Twitter is asking only for limited number of time, length or words. FB is asking anything you can put on. So we need to think for, and we need to actually, likewise, we need to actually prepare. Just I am going to complete my this thing presentation with that particular, it is. Now, again, I need to think for where it is. I'm just going there, opening it up. I think we were on 36th or 37th question. So just going to 36th question. I really need for or want any assistant and like to put my own stamp on work. I get honored if people are not on time for meetings. Before I make a decision, I like to have all the facts, no matter how long it takes. I really need or want any assistant and like to put my own stamp on work that I do. You are not likely to be successful unless you are in the right place at the right time. These 4 or 5 questions are saying that how much good you are actually whenever an information is down the line with you on the table. How much you are filtering that particular information, how much you are actually doing the research work for that particular task to actually happen beforehand. Because this is actually giving the resultant for those activities to happen. I prefer to be quite good at several things rather than very good at one thing. A very basic question for all the multitaskers. if you say there are the people those who are saying that okay, better to be in the domain expertise. If the people are there, I prefer to be quite good at several things rather than very good at one thing. This is saying that whether you are going for a multitasking job or not, or an entrepreneur, if do you choose tend to agree, if you do choose tend to disagree, the answer or option chosen by you actually gives the way actually you are going for an entrepreneur or not. If you are really choosing it tend to agree, you are good for to be an entrepreneur. But if you are going tend to disagree, it means that you are not fit in for being an entrepreneur or running any of the enterprises. I would rather work with a person I liked who was not good at the job rather than work with someone I did not like, even if they were good at the job. The social engineering, it is always like such. In the offices, in the premises, in the organizations, it happens that there are certain times you disagree with the people. But it's not only that you disagree with the people, it's also that your thought or your ideas are in sync or with that or not, whether you are going to work with that particular person or not, because that actually build up the organization structure, the organization values and ethos. Being successful is a result of working hard. Luck has little to do with it. I prefer doing things in unusual way rather than trying out new methods. Before making an important decision, I prefer to weigh up the pros and cons fairly quickly rather than spending long time thinking about it. This is what actually time management or the priority. I'm not saying that you don't you go with the risk factors more and more, but I'm saying, or we are saying, that you actually prioritize your things, weigh up the pros and cons for each of the activity fairly and quickly, spend your time, but don't spend your leisure time on that, and then go for actual decision. Other than myself, I would have opportunity to even things, have an experience that I am sure to enjoy. I usually do what is expected of me and follow instructions carefully. For me, getting what I want is just a reward for my efforts. How much good you are to owe any of the responsibility. The 4 or 5 question sets from 36 to 40s are saying about that. The person is good to take the responsibility or not. I like to have my life organized. When I am faced with a challenge, I think more about the result of succeeding than the effect of failing. I believe that destiny determines and what happens to me in life. I like to spend time with people who have different ways of thinking. More people are thinking for luck to come in rather than working. So these 3 or 4 questions are saying that whether you are thinking for more or you are giving more priority towards the luck or the destiny rather than working on that. I like to spend time with the people who have different ideas or different ways of thinking. I find it difficult to ask for the favor from other people. I get up early, stay late, skip meals. These 2 questions are saying how good you are actually to ask your support from the people, those around you in your network. I get up early, stay late, skip meals. What we are used to do is usually better than what is unfamiliar. I get honored if superiors or colleagues take credit of my work. It always happens in some time or the other that whatever you are doing, you are not getting a good credit or due credit out of that. So you need to think for or whether you are going for that, tend to agree on those things or tend to disagree on those things. People failure are rarely the result of their poor judgment. Sometimes I have so many ideas that I feel pressurized. I feel to fit it easy to relax on holidays and forget about work. I get what I want from life because I work hard to make it happen. If it is harder for me to adapt to change than keep to a routine, I like to start interesting project even if there is no guaranteed payback for the money or time I have to put in. So I have read up all these 54 questions to you just to give you the idea, because this particular question set is giving you the complete idea about an entrepreneur. He or she actually can recognize his strength or his weakness, his or her strength or weakness, and then based on those strength or weakness, best actually they can prepare themselves to start their enterprises, to start to be either at this time, this pole or that pole, that is either to be at the multitasker or rely on your things, the informations, uh, go out of the boxes, think for more innovative ideas, and prepare yourself for that, or go with the routine jobs, that is 9 to 5 working routines, or even the MNCs, corporates likewise. So it totally depends upon those things. But this preset of the questions will actually define the attributes which is more and more required for all the entrepreneurs. Rest, if some questions are there, I'm okay for that to take on the questions. Any suggestions, please let me know. Over to Arpita ji for the closing note of the day.
Thank you, Pradeep ji, for that wonderful presentation, and especially the test part, the 54 questions that we came across. It was really interesting to read about that, what the organization seriously look into the matter. Well, I also leave our viewers with a very nice phrase. You might have all have heard it, when it comes to this jack of all and master of none, right? So there was a question in the questionnaire of the test, right? That I am good in all the fields, but I'm not the master in one. So would love to have your viewpoints on this part of speech. So welcome to all to put their remarks on this. This is the exercise that I would love to give to all the learners. So they are feel free, they can write an email or they can express their viewpoints on this. And as our ritual is, we have all our lovely multitasker women entrepreneurs with us. So hereby, thanking all of them on the behalf of our team, our pillars, would like to first applaud our founder and director of Prakrima Vocational Institute, Dr. Gayatri Narasimhan, Dr. Mandakini Shukla from Hasta Foundation, Mr. Somnath Mishra from Saat Digital, myself from MindCube Multi-Services Private Limited, Impulsive Training Center, Ms. Akshaya Narasimhan. Thankful to the organizers, Root to Bree and Voice It Out, social media partner, Atmanirbhar Bharat Vocational Learning, and creative, supported by Impact. And last but not the least, thankful to the University of Avinash Lingam. And with that, we meet you tomorrow with yet another topic. Till then, goodbye, take care, stay positive. Thank you.
Thanks to all. We'll be meeting soon tomorrow. Thank you.